Hello and welcome to Paradise.
Hey, we made it.
We made it.
After a lot of technical difficulties, some of them my fault.
Oh, not at all. No. Just the bits of technical fun that we always have. But yeah, hello. Thank you for joining us. This is Paradise, Mid-Potion's tabletop gaming stream. I'm joined, as always, by the intrepid John, my eternal co-host. And eternal is a good word that I happened upon just now, because we are back to the game that is one of the most nearest and dearest to our hearts, Warhammer 40,000. Today, we're coming off of a month of D&D, a solid month, and it's great. We love it. We're gearing up for our campaign, but we weren't, we haven't actually started playing yet. You know, we started talking about it a lot, and we're moving on to the next game. Right now, we're building up our Warhammer 40k forces. I'm building up my orcs, which means doing a lot of kit bashing, which I'm super excited about. I'm kit bashing 40k and fantasy. Yeah. Hey, T-Matt, how are you, man? Dope. This year's some great newer in development. Yeah, always is. Is that your face, T-Matt? That emoticon? The person with black hair going... I've always wondered.
That might be...
Tommy?
Yeah, getting closer now.
But yeah. Nice!
Hard to tell.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Anyway. Nonetheless, and John's building up his orcs. I'm sorry, his Necrons. I'm building up orcs.
Yes, I'm building up orcs. They're just the skeleton version of the orc.
But yeah, I'm really excited to announce he's not. Oh, that's the default Twitch emote. I was wondering why that was on our Twitch dashboard. I was just like, oh man, T-Matt, he's such a big part of Mid-Push, and you are, and we love you. But I mean, like, oh man, he's up there on like the Twitch dashboard. That's the Twitch app. That's amazing. He's a big Twitch deal. But that's awesome. But yeah, we. A long time ago, like the last time John and I did the talk show, I was talking about like a new format for show that occurred to me while we were streaming the last 40k stream, a couple months ago. And what that idea is you wish you had your own global emote. We have ones of Jake and Robbie. I don't see why you couldn't make your own. That'd be dope. Oh, those are on Discord though. Never mind. That's very different. I just know I see Jake doing this all the time on Discord, all the time. And that's usually followed by Robbie giving him the thumbs up. But yeah, that format that I had come up with last time we talked 40K was what I like to call MST 40K, where we are going to have a, like a long-form proper game of Warhammer 40,000 going on, not on stream, but off-site, probably at our friendly local game store. And then we are going to film the whole thing and then cut highlights of it. And then the actual stream is going to be John and I sitting there and, heckling each other and BSing and just having fun, talking about the game that we got a chance to play at our leisure, because the alternative was trying to squeeze a proper game of 40K in 2 hours plus tech difficulty and doing things like the intro and stuff like that. McPherson, hello, and T-Med. Global citizens that everyone can use on any channel on Twitch. Oh, that's cool. We have one channel emote, which is Mid-Potion's logo. Yeah, definitely. McPherson's down. Hey, McPherson. Haven't seen this show in forever. Me and my brother are watching. That's awesome. Is your brother anyone we would know on like Twitch or Discord? Because that'd be super cool. If not, we're definitely happy to have him anyway, though. But yeah, thank you both for joining us and everyone else out there. So yeah, complete with ticker that has nothing to do with this show that I didn't update because it was causing technical problems last week. Okay, that's going to be fun. We're going to see what it is that we're proclaiming on our show as we're doing it. Okay, but yeah, today we're building up our stuff. Which means we get to do some hobbying, we get to do some straight up arts and crafts, which is going to be great. And then in the future, we're going to have stuff like, as I call it, MST 40K, that being a riff on Mystery Science Theater 3000, except it's 40,000 because we're talking about Warhammer, which takes place during the 41st millennium. So yeah, thank you for joining us. What are you working on, John?
So I've got a few things here. I've got a stack of warriors here, which I'm probably going to be... they're already out of sprue, so it's the standard warrior with scarabs kit. Just probably be assembling a few of these once I'm done with everything else. So, got some of those. I've got some Triarch Praetorians / Lich Guard, which I will be assembling as Praetorians because... the next box that's going to be coming out is going to have Lich Guard as well, so I want to assemble those as Lich Guard.
Cool. Oh, are you getting the big AdMech box?
Yeah, well, it's the new box that's coming out for we don't know when, but the new box that is it's Necrons versus Mechanicus, and yeah, that one comes with some Lich Guard. So
That's
I am
cool.
definitely going to be assembling those as Lich Guard. So these are going to be Praetorians because I already have 5 of those. So these will round out my squad of 10, and
Nice.
I have 5 Lich Guard assembled. So when I finally get the the Forge Bane box, which is what the new game is going to be called.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's not one of those like self-contained like board games that everyone throws the rules and play mat out of, and
I am not entirely sure.
Okay.
I think it might be an actual game. So if it is, well, it's going to be the one game of all of 40K that I actually might play.
you mean besides 40K?
Well, aside from 40K,
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean like the box sets. Like no one buys the extermination force for
Yeah.
the you know. No one. Let's be square here. No one
No.
buys extermination force for the game. They buy it for the
No.
fact that you can buy 4 assassins in one box, and it doesn't cost you more than, you know. And you also
Sophie,
get all the chaos forces to go with them.
for
so.
all this incredible banter and passion that we have for each other and for the games we play and the content that we make, we're being called nerds by Sophie Mint Potion. Fine. It's okay. We're cool in our own ways, says our support structures. We're fine.
Well,
We're fine.
what's so wrong
We're
being
fine.
a nerd? We run the world.
That's true. Yeah, we have all the billionaire playboys. It's really weird how that happened, but I'm enjoying it.
How did that happen? Well, we live in a digital age, which means that all the Neanderthals, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to use that one. The Cro-Magnons
Yeah.
out there who don't know how to use properly use a keyboard
We
are
win.
going to be left behind.
We won. That's what happened.
Yep, that's what happened.
The geek inherited the earth.
Oh, so maybe that was just a mistranslation. It wasn't the meek, it was the geek.
It
shall
was
inherit
the
earth.
geek. That's what I've been saying. That's the one thing I remember from Catholic school. Super cool. Super cool. So, yeah. Tell them about the mod that you came up with. I like it. It's really subtle, but really cool.
Oh, so yeah, for the warriors with the Gauss Flare, the Gauss Flare has this big axe piece in front of it here,
Mm-hmm.
which that's how it is. And usually there is a rod that a glow rod that goes right here. So there's gonna be a little piece at the end there and a green glow rod that goes in there. I don't particularly care for that bit, mostly because one, you gotta put the glow rod in after it's painted, and
Mm-hmm.
that's annoying. Also, this part tends to get hooked up in other models, which is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, really, I don't particularly care for the long barrel look. I think the short barrel, just little hand blaster thing, looks cool on its own. So I just chopped this bit off, and I keep the axe heads because the idea was that I was gonna basically glue the axe by itself
Mm-hmm.
onto like the leg of the warriors. So it's like when they get too close to use the gun,
They just kick you.
they just set one down and pull the axe up
Mm-hmm.
and go into melee combat that way.
I like it.
Even though it grants absolutely no combat benefit, but still,
Oh, he means in game. No, it's still
Yeah.
dope though.
still, one of these days I might just kit
Yeah.
bash instead of doing the blade ones with their blade fingers. I'll just put all the put
Dope.
the axes in there, and that way. Actually, you know what? I think I just might do
Go
that this
for
one.
it. Yeah. No,
Because
yeah.
I have plenty of warriors. I could always use more, but I do have an
Yeah.
unopened box of warriors at home.
Mm-hmm.
I've got about 20 here,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe I could just, if I could find a way of just modding these slightly, maybe I'll
Mhm.
just turn these into basically axe wielding
Yeah.
Necrons, and they'll be my flayed ones.
That sounds good.
So just give them an axe in each hand.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I thought of something similar for my my Imperial Knight Stompa mod, where I'm taking the glove that it comes with, and because everyone does, because that's a popular mod, is turning Imperial Knight into a looted Stompa, I'm gonna take the glove, the gauntlet that comes with the Imperial Knight, and take the fingers off, and then just have those be a bunch of different things like choppers and whatnot. Yeah. So this is what I'm kit bashing from, and what I'm turning it into is a big bunch of orc silliness. Yeah. So this big mech guy is the Imperial Knight that we're talking about. Lots of people take the Reaver chainsword and replace it with something to make it look like the gigantic chopper that comes on the stock Stompa, but everyone does that, so I don't want to. I like my idea better. that, and I get to use up a bunch of other bits. I've got a box of Killicans for the Storm Club box that John and I went in half on, and he graciously, let me butcher up the Killicans for this kit bash. So I can't wait. Yeah, super cool. Thank you, Vera.
We're very high tech in this show.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't. In case you're wondering, by the way, yes, I know there's supposed to be a rod that goes there, but it limits how you can pivot this thing. So I have deliberately left that off.
Yeah, good for you for keeping it off with the primer on it. I thought for sure I was like, okay, then the primer is what's going to lock that up. But no.
Yeah, no, I was when I do priming, I do very light coats, and so they're very.
That's the trick, yeah.
It's not. There's actually not a whole lot of primer on this, but it's enough to get it, basically where I need it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know how to manipulate the models to pose where I want them to pose. So if I want them kind of posed like that, or with one gun up and the sort of, I change the poses up just however I feel like it.
Cool.
And each one has a slightly different pose that I've assembled for these things. So
right.
But yeah, I've deliberately assembled these in ways so that the primer has gotten where it needs to get.
Super cool.
And this thing has fallen off a few times, but I've fixed it with green stuff, which is why you can actually see the green stuff there underneath where this stuff has already been primed, obviously. So I'll give it another extra little coat to make sure that that's all nicely covered up.
Right.
And then maybe if I can get I'll get some more green stuff to even out some of these lines here so that it looks. Actually, maybe I just leave it a little rough.
I think it looks fine, dude. Especially after that gets primed and painted up. It's just going to look like you're disturbing the earth, But then again, a little acrylic earth goes a long way on literally any model,
Yeah, that's true.
So you should be good to go. Remind me, are those 40K ruin bits there, or did you cannibalize that off something else?
I think these are Age of Sigmar runes.
Oh, dope.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
See, I went into a store that there's a game store, and one of the big things they do there is models, and they had just stuff on sprue, and just that was just left behind, and so I bought them mostly because I wanted to use them for testing.
Cool.
So when I finally got around to actually painting my models, I could use them to actually test the paints to see which one I liked before I got to actually painting the real models.
Right.
Eventually, I just decided, you know what? No, I'm just going to paint the models as they are, and if I screw up, then it just becomes part of the model.
Yep.
And I'll just find a way of making it work. So, and mostly because I'm lazy and don't want to go through all the trouble.
He's not lazy at all.
Very much, very
No,
lazy. Yes.
no,
absolutely. But anyways, in the end, I had a few extra pieces of terrain just lying around, and I was like, and now they're under the knights, so they make the knights look better, as opposed to them just walking over nothing.
Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Looks good though. Wow, that's too shaky for that.
Let me go ahead and set this down. You can get a nice steady shot.
No, it's good. No, it's just when I do my focus to get a little bit of extra zoom trick, it's just so zoomed in, it giving you like virtual vomit syndrome. Thank you though.
You need the other ones so you guys can kind of see what I did with those.
Stabbing my orcs. Nice. Very cool.
Watch the stream with my brother and getting my brother caught up on Discord.
Cool.
Nice.
I fought this army before. It sucks. I thought John was being really impulsive because he played with one knight that he borrowed one day. He was just like, no, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to show up with the 3 knights next time. Just going to go for it. I'm ready by next week. And I was like, dog, you sure about that? That's kind of a lot, and you only played him once. Just like, no. I'm like, nope, he's never been that impulsive. This cannot end well. Oh, well. And he's been smearing my butt around the table ever since.
Well,
so, yeah.
I smeared this other guy's butt around the table, and I felt so bad about it.
Don't. It's a competition.
Yeah, but it was... I played against this guy who was playing Dark Eldar, or
That's
Drukari,
his fault, by the way. That's his fault.
And I let him know. It's not like I showed up to the game. I'm like, and by the way, this is what you're up against. I let him know. I was like, okay, I know you're playing Dark Eldar, but are you cool? Because I'm going to be playing Questor Mechanicus, which is Imperial Knights. Are you cool with that? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. So there was that. But then when we actually got to playing, and I started just systematically taking him apart. At the end of the game, it didn't really feel like a victory. I felt like I had just I just beat up a puppy or something. It was
Well, there's nothing
bad.
wrong with that.
Yeah, there's a lot wrong with that. Actually, I'm a dog lover. I'm sorry.
Oh
But yeah, so I fielded these guys against a Drukhari player, and well, to be fair, he did have a chance because we played a mission game, and the mission was the relic. So
he should have flown all over you,
So
or did you just kill him before he had the chance?
well, here's the thing. I took advantage of two things. I took advantage of the fact that I took advantage of the terrain, and I took advantage of the fact that I could just shoot his models to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So turn one, we were both kind of a little spread out, but I moved my models aside and basically took out all of his big transports.
Mm-hmm.
So his big Java sail barge with all the really like
Java sail barge.
that's what I call it.
No,
Looks
no,
like Java
no,
sail barge.
yeah, no. I'm saying that in awe, not in criticism. That's what it is.
So yeah, he's so that big Java sail barge of his gone first turn. His Viper gone first turn.
Oh, he's playing Eldar and Dark Eldar?
Well, he was the Dark Eldar have the Vipers, don't they? Or well, whatever.
They have something like it, yeah.
They've got whatever version of that vehicle is called. I look at it, I see a Viper, and that's what I call it.
Cool.
Whether that's the appropriate name, I'm not entirely sure, nor do I care, because
Yep.
they're Eldar. So,
Thank you for lending me your box top. Is it cool if I glue on top of it? It's not gonna.
why
Okay.
would I mean,
I'm not. Well, it's plastic glue and it's a plastic top.
it's plastic glue to a plastic top for one, and also, it's not
Oops.
like I'm carrying food in these things.
There you go. I appreciate your practicality, as ever, my friend.
And if I was carrying food, going to be carrying food in there, these things would be getting a wash with bleach and all that, so to make them sterile. And I'd be doing that just a few minutes before actually putting the food in there. So
Cool. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing on some occasions. But anyways,
On most occasions.
some
But yeah.
occasions. But anyways, so yeah, played these guys against the Dark Eldar player. Blew up all of his big stuff, and then he had nothing but infantry versus my big guys. And to be fair, he did have all his melta guns, which hurt a lot. Unfortunately,
What Dark Eldar unit has melta guns?
they have like a flame cannon of some sort. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I
don't
didn't
know. man.
ask. I just
Didn't ask.
I just saw them and, and shot them to pieces, and then charged them so that I could step on them.
Good call.
Because he wasn't charging me, so I sure as hell was going to charge him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so again, I wrecked him pretty hard, and it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, I like playing this because I like playing small elite units where you just get move a few models around the table and do a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same token, yeah, that was kicking a puppy.
Yeah.
So I felt bad. Right up until Ben went up and whooped my tail with Magnus. Then I didn't feel so bad.
Oh, that was epic. The two big models. You mean Magnus the Primarch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Who else is he? Or was that the time that he was playing Thousand Suns and what's it called?
Well, he was playing. Basically, it wasn't even a full army. He had Magnus, he had Ahriman, and
Is that all?
a couple of like just small units to soak up damage.
Uh huh.
So he ends up throwing Magnus at me across the entire board in one turn, because you can make, through warp shenanigans, you can make Magnus move 36 inches in one turn.
Jesus, is that one? Is that something you can do first turn? Because that's incredible.
Yeah, he literally did He has Magnus has an 18-inch movement, and there's a psychic power that basically says you can move again.
Gotcha.
So he did that, and I was like, okay, so you moved 18 inches, then moved 18 again. You puts me literally right in front of me, even though I positioned my army about as far from you as I could get, because I knew Magnus was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you still got right in front of me first turn and had a 4-inch charge for his. It was a 4-inch charge for his assault, and he made it 9 inches because he decided to assault both my front line units instead of just the one. and he made the charge.
How rude. Was he trying to kill you? My
Yeah.
God.
So, because again, I was not prepared for that. Did not get a chance to really
Yeah.
deploy my forces or do anything to maneuver, because I was trying to back myself into a corner and pray to Our Lady of the Corner Camp, and didn't work for me at all.
Patron saint of campers. That's awesome. Excuse me.
So yeah, that happened, and unfortunately,
That just happened.
put a bad taste in my mouth. But then he made a mention at the end of the night about a better tactic I could have used, and I got to thinking, I was like, actually, he's right. Although I still firmly of the opinion that the Necrons need some sort of answer to the Primarchs, because we lack that desperately. And I have hope for our Codex, because with the recent Tau releases, they've been basically they've actually changed stuff from the index, so that means that my Gauss stuff might actually get better.
Good.
When they release the new Codex.
It's funny how, the design philosophy behind some of these books goes. Like some of the, obviously the Tower never going to stop being about shooting and being really, really proficient at that. And that's not going to change when it comes to the Necrons as well. Like, you're not going to see them turn into the melee army with this Codex release. But nonetheless, I'm really interested to see what they'll do, because, they do make some tweaks that are really, really surprising. Blood Angels, for example. Before, they just got and I thought this is sad. I was just, because they for 8th edition, they got rid of you get a bonus attack when you charge, and then once I heard that, I was shocked, and then I realized, okay, they're going to make this game less about, who having a master strat that anyone can have is bad game design. Just like, okay, if I can roll a bucket of dice when I attack, I'm just statistically really likely to win, and anybody could do that. That's not that cool. So I could see them taking it out of the game wholesale. And then once I saw that was the Blood Angels thing, when Index Imperium first came out, I was like, okay, that's sad. They can't figure out not that they can't figure out a benefit for the Blood Angels that's worth having. It's that they can't find one that people like that sticks to their theme. They're not about to change that Blood Angels are good in close combat. So I thought it was sad that they just got that. They were the ones, when the Index came out, you charge, you get +1 attack. However, when they released the Codex, what happens is, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but Red Thirst became, whenever a Blood Angels unit is charged, or performs heroic intervention, they get +1 wound in that fight phase. I thought that was really interesting, because they're gonna stick to their theme. I didn't realize this because it happened before I got into the game back in like 2003. But they did that with the Dark Angels. They were just like, okay, the Dark Angels are the fighty assault army, and then they became the shooty army, and then it was kind of weird how they flip-flopped. This is back when each edition had like an 8-year lifespan instead of a 4-year one, or even shorter in the case of 6th edition.
Well,
still makes me angry.
Let's be frank. 6th edition wasn't good. And
6th edition was a beta test.
And 7th edition wasn't much better.
And 7th edition wasn't much better. I'm very satisfied with 8th. They could have lost a lot of people. The whole thing happened so fast, I didn't really consider getting out of the game. But I was like, wow, if they screw the pooch on this one, I don't know how committed I am anymore. But I'm very satisfied with 8th. Which brings us to what it is, really where I'm going with this is, for the lesser popular armies, they wiggle around a little bit, Like for example, the Dark Angels, they were fighty, then they were shooty. What they do now is become, defensively shooty, which I think is super cool. Before it was they got to roll 5 up for Overwatch. Now it's all Dark Angels units get to reroll 1s in the shooting phase, including Overwatch. And they can, which is, they stick really closely to the theme here. That ability is called Grim Resolve. They can only lose a maximum of 1 model to a failed morale test, which is super cool. So I really appreciate them sticking to their theme, but nonetheless doing something unexpected. Like, I never would have thought that, the Blood Angels would get that defensive melee bonus. That's really hyper-focused. They're great for holding objectives against armies that will try and take it in close combat, because they're just going to get an extra wound, which is super cool. So that's the kind of thing I'm anticipating with stuff like the Necrons, is, a smaller tweak, but nonetheless something interesting. And what makes you, and I think you might be exactly right, that's the kind of, like, scope of the change that happens, which is just something like a weapons ability. What makes you think the Gauss might get better?
Because it kind of needs it.
I see.
To To be absolutely fair, yes, Necrons across the board have better guns than pretty much anyone else.
Totally.
Because every single gun, with the exception of Tesla weapons, will nuke your AC.
Absolutely.
Because it just it's like your armor save. Oh, guess what? Every single gun in my army has a minus to your armor save.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what the problem is that that might be the thing, but there's a lot of people out there with invul saves, so we need a way of dealing mortal wounds.
Gotcha.
And
do you not have a solid way? Really?
I do not have really anything in the game that's
not cool.
that does mortal wounds, with the exception of the Satan shards. And
apropos,
it's like, well, yeah, but I mean, they're literally mini god fragments. So, I mean, honestly, fielding, if you go by the fluff, fielding a Satan is a bit like going to a snowball fight with a thermonuclear warhead. It's
that's
that degree of overkill.
I'm laughing because he's hitting the nail on the head. Like, he's not being silly. Well played, sir. Yeah. Do you think that we're going to see a big buff to the Satan shards, and have that be the alternative to Primarchs?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
Either they're going to give the Necrons some relics, like we can take relics like nobody's business, and we can get the stuff that just makes us, the commanders of the armies something to be feared, like they were in past editions. Like before, again, going back to the heyday, and I will call it that, the heyday of Necrons, which was 5th edition.
Yeah, John was so disappointed with one of the games he played. He was like, "Oh man, I might get out of 40k." I was like, "What are you doing? They're still so much better than the weapons are so much better. Reanimation, oh my god!" But he makes a great point. They were even better back in 5th edition.
Yeah, 5th edition. 5th edition Necrons were 6th edition Tau. I mean, because they were.
If you're nerdy enough to follow that, you know that he hit the nail on the head again.
Because the Necrons could, we could literally bounce units across the battlefield.
So annoying.
One crypt deck, which everyone worth their salt had at least one crypt deck with a Veil of Darkness. And
which one did that do? I know I faced it, but I can't remember which one that was.
That one was the one that lets you teleport. Basically, you would teleport it and the unit it was attached to across wherever you wanted, as long as you weren't in close combat.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's like, okay, they're getting close, and I'm over there now, and okay, now they're getting close, and I'm over here now, and there was no limit to the number of times you could do it. It wasn't a once a game thing. It was a static movement ability. So instead of saying, I'm going to move here, it's like, okay, I remove the cryptic and the unit it's attached to and deep strike somewhere else on the battlefield. And I do that as a movement.
It was brutal. It's really effective.
The only thing that actually made it bounce was the fact that, well, it's a deep strike, and back in those days, deep strike scattered.
That had some limits to it, yeah.
So it basically said, well, if you weren't very smart about how you placed where these things were going to fall, you could lose that unit or lose, or be way out of position. Like I did it once, and I found myself way closer than I wanted to be to an Eldar Knight.
Yeah. Did you kick its ass anyway?
No, it kicked mine pretty badly. I lost that game rather royally.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's unfortunately, but yeah, between that and the fact that you could take a cryptek, a single model, and give it a weapon that was the same weapon, if not better, than the.
Oh, good. We have gray floors for our polystyrene bits. You got that though, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool.
So you basically you can give a cryptek for a 15-point upgrade. You could give it a Strength 9 AP2 weapon, which is in modern 8th edition 40k. That's a Strength 9 AP -4 weapon. That's for 15 points. That's dirt cheap.
That's not fair. That's statistically imbalanced. I'm not complaining. Like that's not very good.
Yeah, we could take a couple of those, and that was just the basic upgrade. That was without giving it any additional war gear. It's like, oh, I make this cryptic from this court. That means he automatically upgrades his Staff of Light to an Eldridge Lance.
Yeah.
Range 36, Strength 9, AP -2.
You're a jerk.
Yes, I was.
You're a jerk.
And again, that's why 5th edition was the heyday for Necrons, because back in those days, it wasn't. I mean,
Dang.
the HQ choices had Ever Living, which meant that even if they died, they have a chance to get back up.
So
those guys had a chance to get back up. I mean, the only thing about reanimation that was worse was that, hey,
excuse me, I'm having glue malfunction.
with the way way reanimation used to work was that, well, once you fail reanimation, that's it. You know, you remove the thing and it's removed as a casualty. So in a way, 8th edition is better because no matter what, if I have models in that unit that haven't run away, then guess what? I get to roll for them every single turn until they come back. So it did get a little bit better. So that's one of the reasons I'm kind of liking 8th edition for Necrons. But then again, we have in 8th edition a severe lack of any way of assigning mortal wounds. It will. It has to, because without being able to dish out mortal wounds like every other army on the battlefield does, we cannot get around things like invulnerable saves. And that was really what killed me in the game against Ben when he threw Magnus at me. Because what the problem was is that he would just every turn buff his invulnerable save. So even though I was nuking his AC or his armor save, he would just give himself a 3+ invulnerable save, which was better than his armor anyway. So it's like, well, great. Mathematically, even if I get a perfect volley off of him, only 3 of those wounds are going to stick, and then he could just cast a psychic power the next turn and regain all those wounds back. So there was mathematically no way for me to win. I needed a way of dealing mortal wounds, and I didn't have one. Yeah. I believe so. So yeah, I'm just gonna let that dry. No, that's a stain on the. I think it's milk or perhaps wax. No. That was there before I put it down. So yeah. But yeah, so Necrons are gonna need some kind of way of dishing out mortal wounds. Either that, or we're gonna need some real big, beefy model to really stand up to something like the Primarch. Which again, people would think Satans are the thing. Unfortunately, no. Well, see, okay, you have the Primarchs, which have 3-up invul saves, almost universally. I don't care what you do, they have 3-up invul saves. One way or another, they get that. The Talon Shards, 4+. Yeah, but he has a psychic power that boosts it, and he can. Be nice, but I don't see them getting it, because they haven't ever done that for the Satanic Shard. It's always been 4+ for them. Yeah, he's pretty beast. I would love to see new models, and I would wish for new models. We are getting at least one. Well, I know for sure we're getting a new Cryptek. We've already seen the new one that was released. It was released with the stuff at Las Vegas, which was at the Las Vegas Open. They released the image of the new one, which is going to be like the new Overlord, which is on a larger base. So it goes from being on the standard 10 mil base, it's going up to the 30 mil base. So it's a bigger guy. The new Cryptek also has a new unique piece of war gear. It's called a Canoptic Shroud. We're not entirely sure what it does yet, but we know about it. Excuse me, because it was going to be released with the Forgebane box set. So that's how we knew about that, and they released that with the early promo art. So we know at least we're getting one new model, which is the new Cryptek. How useful that's going to be on the battlefield is another question. Yeah, Crypteks are, well, they're not badasses. They are, however, essential to your battlefield, because one Cryptek gives you a bonus to your reanimation protocol rolls. Yes, it's an aura ability. They just have to be there to give that ability. So, and also they grant another ability which basically says that if you shoot at them, if you shoot at them or any unit within the aura of them, they have a 5-up invul save against shooting attacks. Which again, good, but very useful. But again, it's any unit within 3 inches of the Cryptek, whole unit. Yeah. No, it's not bad at all. That's why I said they're essential for your Necron players. Any Necron player is going to want to have at least one Cryptek in their army to put next to to put next to everything, because it's like, oh hey, you're gonna take a lot of shots. Well, guess what? If they're gonna be throwing those big AP -4, AP -20 weapons at you, well, 5-up invul save. The only problem is that it doesn't protect you from mortal wounds, and it also doesn't protect you from psychic powers, which is the other thing we don't really have a defense against. No, well, we've always had the Gloom Prism. Now, originally, the Gloom Prism, back and again in the heyday of 5th edition, basically said that you couldn't even target something with a certain range of the Gloom Prism. It was literally a bubble of area where the warp does not exist. Therefore, you cannot target units within a certain range of these Gloom Prisms. And that was something that can only be taken by one unit in the game, which is the Spider, the Canoptic Spider. I never played him because, one, I could never find the model, and also, yeah, but I know we've had one forever, but we have only had one, and I need a couple more than one. And also, the other thing is that beyond their use as sort of a psychic shield, they had no other real use for me, because I didn't really play. Back in the day, what you would use them for is Scarab Swarms. So you would start with a unit of 3 Scarabs, and then you would use the spiders to make that a unit of 12 Scarabs. So it would literally just it's like, oh, okay, so I start with the base unit of Scarabs, the smallest unit, and then every turn make more and more and more. And it was at the point where people who would literally just go, 40K, and it goes right across the battlefield. You start here, and you end up over there because you're putting them in coherency across the battlefield. And then they had to nerf that in 6th edition because they're like, okay, stop that. That's not what that was supposed to do. Yeah, the designers just really didn't think that you would actually just string models across the battlefield like that and basically get yourself into assault range without ever moving the unit. Yeah, so, yeah, thanks for ruining it for everyone. But, moving right along, though, so aside from that ability, there was really no benefit of having a spider in your army because they're big lumbering beasts, and unless you're going up against something where it's like, okay, I could use a big lumbering beast to take care of X unit, then there was really no point in bringing them. So that's why for the longest time I never brought them. But now that psychic powers are as big as they are, because again, in previous editions, psychic power wasn't nearly as broken as it is in this edition. I mean, there's a reason why smite spam has been a thing. And especially since I just now realized in the last game, like, oh wait, you could smite a creature, or you could smite a character. That means that all the guys who are the linchpins of my army are not safe from guys like Magnus and Ahriman. You could just kill the things that actually hold my army up, and there's nothing I can do to save them. So why play? It's like if I'm going to go up against an army that is that psychically potent, and I have I had no defense against it. I had absolutely taking out my in a Necron army where everything leverages on the aura abilities of the commanders in charge. Mm-hmm. Yes, you take off the head, and the troops are just nothing.
I've been on mute. I'm so sorry, everybody. Interesting. Well,
now that you guys can actually hear Steven, and it's not just me talking to
No, we've been having a lively conversation about 40K design. Making it the stream we would like to watch ourselves, albeit half of us on mute. So I apologize for that. That's entirely my fault. Sorry about that, John.
Well, don't apologize to me. Apologize to them. They're the
I'm
ones
sorry, everyone. No, yeah, that's
they're paying for one voice here.
They're paying for one voice. That's exactly right.
But yeah, so what were you saying just a moment ago before you realized you were on mute?
Oh my God, I don't even know where to pick that back up. I think we should move forward instead.
We were talking about how Smite can take out the linchpins of the army.
Yeah, well, you tell me. Characters are not the linchpins of every army necessarily. So,
well, not of most armies, but in the case of Necrons, yeah, they are.
Cool. How so?
Well, because, for example, if you take out when I'm playing in a formation where it's I'm playing My Will Be Done Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
If you take out my Warlord, that means that Tesla becomes about 60% less effective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's numerically about where it boils out to. It really is about 60%-ish less effective, because that's the number of hits you're not going to get because you lose My Will Be Done.
Gotcha.
So that you lose, again, if you lose him before he pops his Res Orb, you lose the Res Orb, which is another huge thing.
Right.
And again,
does it do the same thing again? I haven't played against you in a long time.
So
or any Necron.
Well, yeah, the Resurrection Orb, like always, is basically just gives you a reroll for Resurrection protocols.
Gotcha.
So, actually, I think back in the day it gave you a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just it's a once per game reroll that you can use. And and if you manage to take out the Lord before, again, because it's all mortal wounds, if you take out the Lord, Overlord, or anything that has a resurrection orb before it gets to pop it, that's, if you're playing in a points game, that's points lost. If you're playing a power game, that's power you're not going to get advantage of. Gotcha. And we really do, we're really screwed if you take off the cryptic. because the
Mhm.
crypt tech gives, again, the bonus to resurrection protocols, which means that we get up on a 5 instead of a 4.
Right.
And also it means that we lose the protection from all the shooting attacks that we used to have.
Mhm.
So there's that. So it's if you, I mean, really, it sounds like, oh well, you guys could still win. You have all those guns or whatever the situation might be.
It sounds like you could, but I hear what you're saying now.
You-
That
you
it's not
could.
as it's stressful.
You
Yeah.
could, but basically taking out 3 or 4 models with psychic powers that can target them and deal mortal wounds that I can't avoid
Mhm.
means that, well, again, taking out especially for a psychically powered army like the Thousand Suns, taking out 3 or 4 models in one turn is not difficult
Right.
at all.
Mhm.
If you're gonna just run in and just assassinate characters, that's not hard for you to do. And again, like you say, in most armies, that's not a problem.
Mhm.
With Necrons, however, since all the infantry is basically being supported by those characters, losing them is a big hit.
Right.
And then, if you push on and say, well, if you're playing a vehicle heavy army, that's really the only defense. It's like, well, I've got vehicles and they've got a lot more wounds than I can lose to smite. But then again, you have to be playing a vehicle heavy army, and you don't necessarily have that in Necrons because
Mhm.
there's no point in playing a vehicle heavy army. Our bread and butter is our infantry.
Right.
So yeah, we have some vehicles, like the Stalker is an awesome vehicle.
The barges are good.
The barges are, well, the Annihilation barges, yes.
Yeah.
The Doomsday Ark.
Yeah. No, the Ark's were never. The Ark's the smaller one, right?
Well, the Doomsday Ark, because they're both. Well, yeah, the Doomsday Ark is the big one, then the
Gotcha.
barge is the smaller one.
Never mind. The big ones are always scary good. The smaller ones,
No, the smaller ones are actually pretty good because they've got
Hmm.
the Tesla destructors, which are strength 7
Excellent.
Tesla weapons,
never mind.
and they fire. And they're twin linked, so that means you get 8 shots.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So those are really good, and they're a lot less expensive than the big Kahuna gun. The only advantage the big Kahuna gun has is it's got an
I like
AP
that.
-5.
That's pretty good.
So
That's not bad at all.
that's like, okay, AP -5. Unfortunately, it's only D3 shots. It's not
Right.
guaranteed, and that's one thing I expect to change with the Codex release is that against a vehicle, it's going to be 3 shots, and against everything else, it's going to be 6.
Gotcha.
That's the only thing I really see change. Instead of it being a random roll, it's actually going to be a fixed number, and the damage is probably also going to get fixed as well. Instead of being a random die roll, it's going to be a fixed number.
Gotcha.
Because that happened with a couple of things in the Tau Codex, so that's one of the things I'm expecting to happen in the Necron Codex when that comes out.
Right.
So, or at least that's what I'm hoping happens, because quite frankly, we need something similar.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't fielded a Doomsday Arc since 8th edition came out because it's not worth it. They
Gotcha.
it does not deal the amount of damage that it needed to deal for it to be worth fielding.
Right.
So there's that. The other thing,
Not that kind of stream, folks. Sorry about that.
so moving right along. Other changes in the codex that we might expect is we might expect some things to get cheaper in some ways. Probably going to get more artifacts, which is going to be useful.
Everybody got more artifacts. It's really cool.
The beyond that, I mean, yeah, the artifacts we're gonna hit.
Artifacts. What do you think your chapter tactics or dynasty tactics, whatever they're going to be called?
It's hard to say.
Gotcha. Which is a good thing, I think. I feel like no matter what, it's gonna be cool to find out. And I don't see them taking a crap when it comes to Necrons. I really don't.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to say what their chapter tactics are going to be, or their dynasty tactics, as you say, because really we only we only have 2 dynasties really that we actually know of. I mean, we know of, I think, 12.
Do you think they're gonna change that?
Oh yeah, they're gonna flush more than that. But most of the characters that we talk about are all Stotic dynasty.
Gotcha.
Or Stautek Dynasty, however you pronounce that.
Right.
So Imhotep, Zandrech, Ubyron, Trazin.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, wait. Trazin is Solomon. So
Cool.
So he's a different.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much, but Oricon, all the named characters, with the exception of again, Trazin, Illuminor Xeris, and Anrakir the Traveler, all of them have the same. Everyone else has the same dynasty. So it's like, oh,
interesting. Do you see them writing their way around that? Just like now their allegiances are shift, which I think would be a crappy thing to do, but nonetheless, it seems to solve that. But you don't see that happening, do you?
I don't see that happening.
Okay.
I mean, Zandrech is a. I mean, well, one, he's insane. He still thinks he's a flesh and blood creature.
Yeah.
That's how insane Zandrech is. He doesn't. Everyone he sees, he thinks is a fellow Necrontyr. So back when they were still flesh and blood, he thinks he doesn't even remember the war in heaven. He just thinks he's back in the Secession Wars. There's a great quote from him. It's like, "Ha! Do you see? They're using the same strategy they used in this battle. But why they thought that painting themselves green and charging uncontrollably would make any difference, I don't know. But this is going to be a surefire win for us."
Yeah.
That's an actual quote from the guy. Well, I mean, I'm paraphrasing just a little bit, but still. The guy thought that a group of orcs attacking them were fellow Necrontyr.
Yeah.
That's the nominal dementia that we're talking about here.
Yeah. Techno dementia.
So that guy is not going to be changing sides. And O'Byron's the guy who would go with him, so he's not going anywhere either.
Does he still have the "My Lord's in trouble, I warp over to him" ability?
Yes, he does.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it's just him. It's not the unit. It used to be him and the unit he was attached to.
God, I hated that. Hate that.
Yeah. This unit, the Ghost Walk Mantle is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he still has it. It's still awesome.
I bet.
But especially because it's one of the only teleports we have in the game. Unfortunately, it's just for the single model. It is not for the unit like it used to be. The fact of the matter is, O'Byron was really useful because you could charge with him.
Mm-hmm.
So you would put him with a unit of Lich Guard and charge other units, and then when his Liege Lord was in trouble, he would just take the Lich Guard with him, even if he was in combat, and just go, and we're off.
And now we're over here. That's funny.
Yeah, or you could just say, I don't want to be in combat anymore, and just teleport away.
Yeah.
Because his was the only one that could teleport away while even involved in combat.
Yeah, that was cool. And you don't have anything other than, I think, your jet bikes. Do they have hit and run or whatever it's called this edition? Interesting. Did they ever before?
The Tomb Blades never had anything like that. No.
Interesting.
They were never supposed to be close combat units. There's just mobile gun support platforms.
Yeah.
And the good thing about them is they still have their book abilities, which is you have the shield veins, which gives them a +1 in their armor save.
Mm-hmm.
They have the shadow looms, which gives them a +1 of their cover saves.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the nebula scopes, which basically says we ignore cover.
Cool.
Those have always been there. Those aren't changing any. From 5th to other editions, they got a little bit better because you could take them in larger squads. Before, they were limited to a squad of 5. It was one of the reasons I never took the damn things, is because they were never worth playing, because you could only get 5 of them and they get shot to pieces before you could do anything with them.
Yeah.
I mean, they have reanimation protocols, sure, but if the unit gets wiped out, that means you don't get reanimation, so why bother?
Mm.
It wasn't until later editions where it's like, oh, yeah, these jet bikes can be taken in squads of 10 and they still have reanimation protocols. Which meant that, that means that they're fieldable now.
Mm.
And when they changed reanimation to basically be another feel no pain, that was like, oh, okay, well,
that was dirty of them. Ugh.
The feel no pain that you can't get rid of.
Ugh. Not fair.
Well, all's fair in love and war. And this is definitely war.
This is war. Yes.
So again, the whole Necrons back in 5th and were just completely broken, but nowadays they're a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
But oh well.
All good things come to those who wait and follow the Emperor. Ha!
I don't know about that. I know some people
Yeah,
in the Inquisition who would disagree.
No, I know. No, mostly I'm just happy that you give me less of a hard time when we're playing.
Well, to be fair, yes, because those scarabs were the single reason you stopped playing.
Jesus. No, that wasn't the only reason. Mostly I got bored. It was a strong strategy, and I used it really extensively, and then eventually I was just like, I want to go outside the wall, literally. But yeah, no, that was the scary effect of Scarab Swarm.
The fact of the matter is, this guy used to be the biggest.
You're a
tank
jerk.
Yeah.
You're a jerk.
He is the biggest tank commander I used to know because he would just take. He's a big IG guy, and he would just.
Oh yeah.
Field 20 Lehman Russes and call it a day.
In all seriousness, it wasn't 20 Lehman Russes, but it was about 20 tanks. In all seriousness.
In all seriousness, I mean, he'd have like 8 Lehman Russes, 2 Chimeras, a couple of Hellhounds, and Basilisks.
Yeah.
And it was like
sometimes a couple Mandicores, sometimes a Baneblade.
Sometimes he would have just this huge wall of metal.
I've learned my lesson, and I'm bringing more. Is what I'm saying.
And yeah, so that was the thing back in the day. And then I started throwing scarabs at him, and he stopped.
Aren't you special? Yeah.
And
what are these little things coming towards me? Okay, whatever. They must be anti-infantry.
No, they are not anti-infantry. They are anti-everything.
Yep.
See, back in 5th edition, we used to have this little rule called Entropic Strike.
I thought for sure that would be the thing that's got mortal wounds. Is Entropic Strike even in your codex anymore?
It is, but it's a nerf. Basically, what it is that... Here's the thing. Entropic Strike back in 5th edition, what that said is that before you even rolled to penetrate armor or roll to wound,
Giggity.
you
Yes.
rolled Entropic Strike. And on a 4+, I believe it was either 4 or 5+, if it was a vehicle, it would lose 1 armor on every facing. And if any side got to 0, the vehicle was immediately wrecked. And you rolled for every hit, by the way. So if I...
Yeah.
So with 5 attacks per model...
He's a jerk. He's a shiny metal jerk.
5 attacks per model, and 3 or 4 bases hitting in contact with a vehicle, which back in those days did not get to attack back, so that meant they hit automatically.
Yeah.
That meant that so I get 15 rolls to make an attempt to lower the armor value on your targets or on your tanks. So I roll it out. Okay, so your armor went from 13 on all sides to 3 on all sides.
So not cool. Remember in the beginning of the game, you thought they were just a big waste of points? You're just like, well, I don't know who those are for.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were for until I used them against a building with rather spectacular results.
Yeah, I don't know where it went, but I'm happy that the building's gone.
Yeah, it was one of those things, because someone had actually, I know who it was. It was against Brian, this guy named Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Big Eldar player at the time, and he bought a fortification, which was this giant tower, and he had a bunch of Eldar Dire Avengers on the top floor, and they were pissing me off. But he let my scarabs get into base contact with a building. And again, back in those days, you didn't have to roll to hit against a building. You just hit.
Because why would you? It's right there.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what happens when I roll for... So what happens when I roll? Okay, so roll against this building. Well, okay, so that armor literally went from 13 on all sides to, I think it was like 4 or 5 on all sides. I'm like, so that means that means I have to roll a 3 or 4 on these dice just to glance. And no, so that means I roll a 2 on these dice to glance, and I roll anything else as a penetrate. And I rolled pretty godly, and then I had to roll on the tables to figure out what the hell happened. Long story short, I blew up the building with all the Dire Avengers on top of it.
Yeah.
And they had to make an emergency egress the long way down.
That rule was in the 6th edition rulebook. Gravity, nature's downward express elevator.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that happened. And I laughed to no end when one of those dire Avengers fell down and broke his legs.
Is that your way of saying you fell off the table?
No.
Okay. But no, that's what happened. Did you table the unit that way?
Huh?
Did you table the unit that way?
No. He managed to survive gravity's elevator.
Aha.
But again, I was laughing when one of them jumped off the top of the building and broke his legs and therefore got eaten. But but then they couldn't obviously defend themselves against a bunch of these scarabs coming their way.
Land piranha. That's what they are.
Pretty much.
Land piranha.
Land piranha. And trust me, these things were not friendly against infantry. No. I mean, especially if you were unlucky enough to throw Terminators at these things.
Oh, God.
The other rule of
Did you get it? It's there. No, I can't focus on it.
And this is why we bring flashlights, folks.
Yep, we got it. Lost a model, or won't be lost for long.
So, yeah, the other rule for that used to be there for Entropic Strike was that if you hit a model that or if a model suffered an unsaved wound from a model that had the Entropic Strike special rule, guess what? You lost your armor save.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I played so many tanks because of that. And then John's right. Like, that was a big reason why I started branching out into playing more infantry. I discovered that the hard way. I was just like, wait a minute. Entropic Strike is still awful to play against, even when you're not playing vehicles, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like, okay, well, you can't win if you play tanks. You can't win if you play infantry. So what did he do? He put up an Aegis defense line, put everything behind it. It would shoot me from across the battlefield.
Yeah, which I still do from time to time.
We still do this from time to time, but the thing is, back in the day, even that wasn't a defense for him because I could literally just go, okay, turn one, I'm behind cover, so you can't see me to shoot me. Ha-ha. And then my turn comes up, okay, teleport everything from my side of the battlefield to right in front of you. And he hated me. He still hates me, but it's not as bad these days because the battlefield's a bit more fair.
Completely hate you? Yeah.
And even I have to admit, looking back on it, it's like, yeah, we were pretty broken. There was no redeeming factor there that made us made me less of a jerk to play Necrons back in those days.
You're a jerk.
Admittedly so. But the Necrons have been on a fairly steady nerf train since then. And again, we have no way of dealing mortal wounds this edition, so it's like, yeah, everyone else has got them. Granted, we can destroy everyone's armor, and
yeah,
that we can deal wounds like nobody's business because we can throw out shots like like it's spring break in Florida. But the thing of it is that we can actually make a lot of these wounds stick because we have no way of dealing mortal wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, Games Workshop, if you're listening, we could use some ways of dealing mortal wounds.
Yeah, I'm sure
even if
they've
you aren't
heard
listening,
that.
we could still use some ways of dealing mortal wounds.
Yeah, exactly.
But oh well. As they say,
C'est la guerre.
C'est la vie, c'est la guerre. And yeah, that's going to be basically what we have to deal with in the coming editions. And what I'm really kind of hoping we get is that we get ways of dealing mortal wounds. I'm not asking for it on the baseline troop. That would just be stupid.
No.
Yeah. If you could say if a Necron warrior could, on a roll of 6, dish out a mortal wound instead of a normal wound, kind of like we used to do, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that was the case, then everyone will suddenly start buying Necrons because it's like, oh my god, that means that everything in the game is not safe.
Yeah.
On a roll of 6+, it's like, oh, yeah, why would you not want? And then we could take them in squads of 20, and they're rapid fire 1, so that means, and with a range of 24, so at 12 inches you have a fairly high chance of getting mortal wounds. The base Necron is not, the base Necron warrior is not going to get that. But
Whoa. Sorry, another glue malfunction.
But giving that sort of ability to maybe the Immortals or to Because right now the big thing with Immortals is using Tesla guns, because we could use that with My Will Be Done and get scores of hits. But if you give them the ability to do mortal wounds with their Gauss blasters, that would give you a reason to actually field Gauss blasters, because I haven't fielded one in ages because of My Will Be Done Tesla. But we need other ways of, again, just need more ways of dealing mortal wounds. We need other models that will give us the ability to actually deal with the fact that all of these Primarchs are out there, and not even just the Primarchs, just a lot of models out there have suddenly gotten invulnerable saves. Gesundheit. Yeah, there's a lot of models out there that now have invulnerable saves that we just can't get around.
They don't even really have an answer, like a tete-a-tete, answer for my Baneblade. Like you can kill it with enough firepower. Mathematically, anything in the game can do that this edition. But
Gesundheit.
pardon me. You don't quite have an answer. You don't have. Well, you have your Tesseract Vault thing.
Which, yeah, I do. Well, we have the Tesseract Vault, which is, again, it's a big monolith-looking thing that has Tesla spheres, which basically are just bigger, badder versions of the Tesla cannon. But they're, again, it has no AP. What we're relying on is the fact that we deal more wounds than you can deal with, and like, even against the Baneblade, that's not going to do much. I would rather have a heavy Gauss blaster against you, because it's going to deny you an armor save and you have no invul save.
Right.
On a Baneblade. But against something like...
Just nasty to do to me.
Let's say, I mean, against things like an Orc Knob with a force field, whatever it's called.
Right. The weird... no, it's not called the weird thing. Yeah. No, the custom force field.
Custom force field, that's the one. So if you... I mean, aside from... It's like, I can't deal with anything that has an invul save, because I've got no way of getting around it. And yeah, granted, most invul saves are worse than armor saves. Yeah, not always. And again, just because everything else can get around my saves, and I have no way of stopping their saves. The only good thing about Necrons is that we get back up. We are the only army currently in the game that can survive an Alpha Strike attack, and it's solely because we can get right back up.
Which they'll never take away.
They'll never take away. That's
like I felt when you realized that Smite could take out your linchpin units, all of your R abilities, that hurts you more. I did have a limited understanding then about how much that hurts. I was like, well, no, I mean, I feel for you, but you always had and always will have reanimation.
Always have and always will have reanimation. But again, reanimation only works if you have a Cryptek around. Because, again, it's a 5+, which is a 1 in 3 chance, versus 4+, which is a 50-50 shot of getting back up. So it's a difference of 16.67%. It's a pretty significant increase.
Yeah.
To your battlefield to have that Cryptek near units, especially ones of large quantities, like, for example, your warriors, which you're probably going to take in blocks of 20. Having the ability to have that boost to your reanimation is key. And losing that by losing the Cryptek is a huge blow. And because we have no way of protecting the Cryptek aside from the one model, which is the...
Excuse me.
I mean, even if you don't hit it with a psychic power per se, like if you hit it with some kind of weapon or someone who has a sniper that has the range, like a Vindicare assassin, which, by the way, if you guys have Vindicare assassins, Crypteks are your first targets.
Always. Totally.
Something like a Vindicare assassin or Eldar Rangers, or anything like that, any sniper unit, those are your primary targets, and there's not many of them. And again, once you nuke them, and especially because a lot of snipers will deal mortal wounds on their attacks.
Indeedy doodle.
So,
to put it formally, yes, indeedy doodle. Are there any sniper units that don't deal mortal wounds?
I don't think that my death marks do.
Interesting.
Actually, no, I take it back. They do, but it's really hard to do. especially with mine. Mine are permanently demoted to the rank of immortal because they perform so terribly.
Are you gonna wait until, or have you already done that?
What?
Started converting them to immortals.
No,
Okay.
I'm not going to convert them. They're just
They're
always
just-
going to be played
gotcha.
as immortals.
Because I was gonna say you gotta wait for poop codex to come out.
We'll find out. I
Okay.
mean, it's kind of hard to say,
Mm-hmm.
but as of right now, I'm sort of the mind of, well, these death marks really aren't worth playing. Because again, back in the day, death marks used to be pretty boss.
They scared the bejesus out of me.
Because back in the day, and again, I hate to keep going back to this,
Oh,
but
go for it.
the point in 5th edition and even in as late as 6th and 7th edition, when a death mark entered the battlefield, they would wound on a 2+.
Yeah.
The in 5th edition, what it was is that you would mark a unit at the beginning of the game to be your target,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter what. So if you had multiple targets on the battlefield, if you fielded 2 or 3 units of death marks, you would have 2 or 3 targets on the battlefield that you would nominate, and you could just say, okay, any of those units, any unit of death mark will wound on a 2+.
Mm-hmm.
So you would nominate your opponent's command squad or the squad of Terminators or whatever it was, and because they would show up and they had pretty good ballistic skill, there was.
Were they 2 up?
No, they were always 3 up. They're still
Gotcha.
3 up, which is the other thing that really sucks. They're snipers. They should be 2 up.
Yeah.
You would think a sniper.
For 8th edition, yes, because before it was they never sniper rifles didn't use ballistic skill at all. They had this other funny business, and that was really cool. That made up for whatever middling.
Well, what it was is that it wasn't to hit. That was to wound.
Oh no! You, the death marks, had the old school sniper rules. That's the way sniping used to work in 3rd edition, where you hit on a 2 up and wound on like a 4 up, no matter what.
Okay, so I stand corrected. But yeah, so we would literally wound on a 2 up, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty beast. Again, originally it was you would wound on a 2 up on the target of your choice, but in later editions it was just like, okay, well, the turn they come in, they get to deal wounds on a 2+, and they have a rapid fire sniper rifle. So you plant yourself nearby with a unit of 10 of these guys, that's 20 shots that are going to wound on a 2+,
Mm-hmm.
and hit on a 3+ because of their ballistic skill 4. No, they were ballistic skill. Yeah, they were ballistic skill 4, so they would wound on a 3+.
4. Interesting.
Yeah, and back in the days of, as he used to call it, up-down mathematics.
Yep.
Where the higher ballistic skill was better. So ballistic skill 4 meant that you hit on a 3+.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, we just say 3+.
Yep.
We just took the whole number out of it and just said, no, this is what you rolled to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, if you had like the way you used to calculate your ballistic skill is that you would roll, if you had a ballistic skill of 5 or less, the number that you rolled was 7 minus your ballistic skill.
Yes, indeed.
That's the number you rolled. If you had a ballistic skill higher of 6 up, then you would roll your initial
Dun,
shot.
dun, dun.
Yeah, your initial shot was always going to be on a 2+, and then you would get a free reroll at 10 minus your ballistic skill, which is very complicated math. But basically, what it works out to is that your the higher ballistic skill basically got a version of what the old version of twin linked was, and which basically said if you missed, you got a reroll.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
I'm really glad of the way they changed it.
Yeah, me too. I actually rather enjoy the fact that it's like, yeah, no, you just shoot twice now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes so much more sense now.
Oh yeah.
So much more sense. Really enjoy that.
Oh yeah. Super cool. I need to change batteries.
So while he's changing batteries, I will continue to bend your ears about how 5th edition Necrons used to be boss. Because we used to be just completely and utterly broken. It was not funny. Well, it was to us, but not to everyone else who was playing and complaining. But yeah, so the while I'm off screen, I'm just gonna go ahead and start making shadow puppets. But no, but yeah, so 8th edition Necrons are gonna need something to sort of balance us a little bit more. It's not that we're again. It's not just the Primarchs that are the problem. Again, there are Primarchs, Imperial Knights, the Eldar Knights, and a lot of other things that are standard play these days. They're not. It's not like you just say, "Oh well, that's that's like a niche thing." Well, yeah, you think it's a niche thing until you go up against an army of Castellans from the Adeptus Mechanicus, or if you go up against all those plague marines who are disgustingly resilient.
Oh my God, the
You
ones
know,
you can't kill.
you just can't knock them down, or I mean, everyone's got their gimmick which gets them out. We do have, again, we have the sort of defensive ability of, yeah, well,
my
you
God.
knock us down, we'll get back up.
Yeah.
But it's
But you still feel like that's not all you
it's
need.
not really all. I mean, it's good because it makes us level with everyone else on that front. But everyone else has just again.
Because you do have mostly Marine stats. That's pretty
mostly
darn
Marine
good.
stats. That's pretty damn, and it is, yes, it is pretty damn good. But again, even Marines have ways of dealing mortal wounds, plasma weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, not necessarily plasma weapons, but
Melta weapons? No.
no,
Plasma weapons.
no, plasma weapons.
Some power weapons.
I don't think plasma weapons do mortal wounds, do they?
Oh no, they do mortal wounds themselves. That's right.
Yeah, they do
When
to
they
themselves.
overheat, yeah.
They don't actually deal mortal wounds.
Right.
I may have you losing my argument here because I think you can't.
No, you're right though. There are plenty of things. There are plenty of things that do. And plenty of weapons that okay, on a 6, this is a mortal wound and stuff like that. Also, it's lack of psychers really is a thing. They did a lot to make psychers a lot more important, and for a really straightforward reason, which is smite is excellent. No, you should fear the battle wizards.
Yeah, I definitely do. And again,
You know what?
Necrons don't have a brain cell in their heads to defend themselves with.
For all their intelligence, machine learning, folks. You know what I would hate is if they just gave Cryptek smite or something like it. Like that would be such a cheesy weenie thing to do. I'd hate that.
I don't see them doing that.
No, me neither. But I'm like,
I mean, it'd be interesting, but
Yeah.
I'd like to know the science behind that particular thing,
mm-hmm.
because again, despite all of the BS that we used to be able to do,
Mm-hmm.
it all had a scientific definition behind it.
Sure.
I mean, the chrono spheres or whatever it was that the time guys used to do was basically we just manipulate time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, well, it's easy to dodge a bullet when it's only going that fast.
Yeah.
If it's going the same speed as a tennis ball, you could dodge that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you have a machine's reflexes, you could just go psst, and
Mhm.
it goes right past you.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. The whole teleport around the battlefield thing was, well, they're folding space-time. They have the technology to know how to manipulate space-time in such a way that they can just go, and we used to be here, but we compressed the distance between here and there, and now we're there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Their sort of seismic tremor thing, which basically they're manipulating gravity, which basically says, okay, well, if you can manipulate gravity, you can do a whole lot of other things.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing behind the Tomb Blades is that they don't actually have their engines don't actually propel them anywhere. Their engines manipulate gravity, and it's the force of that's that gravity differential that moves them around. So they're literally just kind of. You want to use my glue because yours is
No, it's
kind
fine.
of stringing around.
Yeah, it's okay. No, I don't want to have to throw it away. I believe the only thing that happens is it gets stringier. It'll get stringier, but it won't get any less effective. So thank you, but I want to get some value out of this before I toss it. What?
Anyways,
What was that for?
value.
It's still good glue. It's still going to dissolve the 2 pieces of plastic and then re-adhere them into one piece. It's just stringier. while it goes out. And with how much of this is left, it would be a waste to just chuck it, because right now it's still doing its job.
All right. Moving right along. Yeah, I like to harp on how badly Necrons get at this codex, but it's mostly because everyone else got really good, and I've got really no response.
Wait until the codex comes out, but then again, I don't know. I like how low your expectations are going into that, because then you're just going to be happier no matter what. Because I don't see them getting worse. No one got worse when their index went to the codex.
You don't see them getting worse. It's kind of hard to go lower the floor.
You could have worse reanimation.
That's not going to happen, because reanimation hasn't changed in 6th editions.
True.
Well, I mean, it's in 5th edition. In 5th edition it was 5 up. In 6th edition it was 5 up. In 7th edition it was 5 up, and in 8th edition it's still 5 up. There are just ways of boosting it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And the only different things they might do is they might change how it or what units it affects, or they might change, or they might change, like they might go like the old school weapon way, where it was like, well, you would put a marker on the table where the models used to be, so even if the unit is wiped out, they still have a chance of standing back up.
Interesting. I wonder if that was ever enforced. It's like, no, take the model off.
That was a thing back when Ever Living was a thing, and also back in, I think, third up to 5th edition, I think, is when that was the thing. In 6th edition, they removed that because they're like, okay, it's getting kind of hard to keep track of that.
Yeah.
So they removed it in in 6th edition, but they might bring it back. I doubt it.
Yeah. Wow.
It would be nice, however, just to have another model that had just a buttload of wounds to absorb attacks. Again, we have the Satan shards; they just don't absorb them very well. I mean, yeah, it's a strength toughness 7 creature, but you're not going to be feeling very many of them because they have a 4-up armor save and a 4-up invul save, which means that if you wound them, they're likely going to absorb those wounds. They're likely going to keep those wounds. And also, the thing about Satan shards is, when they die, they go in spectacular fashion.
Interesting. What are they? Are they like vehicles that blow up?
Yeah, they blow up without fail.
Okay. What happens?
Basically,
God, you were right about this glue. It's solidifying. I haven't used it in a long time, and I think it's the exposure to the air. No, I want to see. Thank you. Oh, one more.
Glutton for punishment, this one. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they were the main reason they never really hit the tabletops in previous editions is just because they were so. It might be hard to hurt them, but if you can hurt them, they are going to go down.
Yeah.
Their armor saves were never that good. Their invul save was mediocre at best, and they had no way of replenishing their wounds. Well, in 7th edition, that changed for one of them. The Nightbringer could regain wounds, but only in close combat, and only up to what they lost that round. So if you lost wounds in a previous shooting phase and ended up with 2 or 3 wounds left, and you managed to keep that thing teetering at that 1-2 mark, you couldn't get it to go back up because of the way the rules were written.
Right. Ha! I got a little bit more glue. This isn't gonna be very secure.
So again,
yeah.
I wish Satan shards were better. If they did make them better, where they made them a little bit less squishy, they would be worth taking, or at least make them cheaper so that you would actually take them. Because right now they're, I think, in the order of 11 or 12 power to field, which is a lot. That's a full
11
squad
to
of
12.
I think it's. Yeah, I think they're 12 power. Let me pull
Yeah.
I have the app on my phone.
Sweet. Battle script.
Battle scraps.
Battle
so.
scrap. Surprised you know the books. I mean, I know you have the books, but
Well, I
nonetheless.
have them, but I have them, but I took them out of my car recently because I realized I was carrying quite a lot already. It's like, okay, no wonder my mileage just kind of sucks right now. It's because I've got half my geek collection in the back of my car.
Nice.
So, but yeah, if you can make them fieldable, then yay. That would absolutely.
Yay.
I would absolutely love them to be a little bit cheaper in order to. Well, sorry,
No worries.
I'm a little distracted here, but yeah, it's if they could be a little bit more fieldable, that would make them better. I would absolutely love to get a sort of a larger response to something like a walker. You know, like
Interesting.
Like, because I mean, again, AdMech got
right.
those 2 new walkers in their new battle Forge Bane set. So they're getting the 2 the new mini knights.
Yeah.
Which are awesome looking, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the main reasons I'm going to buy that box, because I want those walkers. The other thing is,
which ones are those?
They're basically like 3/4 knights.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. Okay. Holy crap. Did not know that.
Yeah, they're gonna come up. Compared to one of these guys.
So they're like the Knight Cerastus.
Yeah, they're gonna come up to about there.
Except smaller than rather than bigger than.
Yeah.
Bennett's got a Knight Cerastus. Oh, this heavy stubber fell off one of your knights, by the way.
Well, it's not attached.
Okay, gotcha.
They're not glued on.
Getcha.
But yeah, they're gonna be basically slightly smaller versions of the knights. They'll have a slightly stubbier chainsword, and slightly. I don't know if they'll have the same ion shields that the big ones do, but they're basically smaller knights. Easy. And that's what they're getting. I mean, the Imperium's getting a bunch of Primarchs. Even Chaos is getting their Primarchs and everything.
Yeah.
The
even Russ might be next. I can't wait.
I'd be shocked if it was Russ. Yeah. I mean, seriously.
He's coming soon at any rate. It's probably Johnson.
I mean, in 30K they just released Rogel Dorn.
Interesting.
So I knew Dorn was coming. I just didn't know if it was for 40K or for 30K, and it turned out to be for 30K, which made more sense than it did for 40K.
Right.
But the next Primarch that I've heard is coming out, and again, rumor mill, so take this one with a grain of salt. Of course, the last rumor turned out to be true. So
yeah, most of those leaks are internal, so it's interesting with the leaks we get these days.
So, but the next Primarch that we're going to be getting is probably going to be Fulgrim. So, Demon Primarch, it's going to be Fulgrim for Emperor's Children. Congrats to you.
Congrats, guys.
And then possibly after that, we might get the Lion. Although I wouldn't I wouldn't put it past them to pull something else out. Someone recently suggested that Korax might come back, which
that would be cool.
Yeah,
as hell. But
so I mean, they said Korax would come back, and I was like, that'd be kind of cool if he came back as basically a dark Sanguinius.
Ooh.
Think about this. Sanguinius originally, when he came back, again, guy with big white wings, golden hair, stereotypical white angel.
Yeah. He's a golden boy.
Golden boy. So what if you had basically the Raven version of that?
That's dope.
Comes back, big jet black wings.
What if you had the punk rock version of that? That'd be
dark
dope.
black hair, paper white skin, black eyes, and not just black because he's been, hitting himself in the face all along. I'm pretty sure he does that on a regular basis.
Existence is pain.
Existence is pain. Learn to live with it.
God, that'd be cool. Do you think they'll surprise us with someone else entirely? Because those leaks are internal. They could all be misinformation.
It's possible. I mean, again, you could be right. They could be releasing the wolf. But
what if it's something even further out from left field? And what if it's Vulcan?
Vulcan would be also cool. I mean, everyone just says Vulcan lives. And it was one of those, I could buy it. I mean, if he showed up, it's like, hey, that makes total sense because the guy is, I mean, he's a perpetual. You can't. Hey, what up, man?
Yay! What's up now, Stat? How are ya?
But yeah, Vulcan would make total sense if you brought him up. I just don't know if they would.
Yeah. Wishful drinking at this point. Lots and lots of wishful drinking on our parts. Ah, no! Ball! Nice.
Alright, unfortunately, Battle Scram has the points cost, not the power points.
Dun, dun, dun. Da 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 dun. There it is. Okay, let's see how poorly the glue held. Not bad, actually. Okay, I was right. I was only mostly sure, to be honest, about the fact that this glue getting stringier just makes it stringy. It doesn't mean that it's not going to do its job. You know, really what this is meant for is to, this is plastic glue, which means that Gundams. Oh my God, no. Oh my God, no. Whoa, 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 whoa. Smash Brothers 5 was just announced.
Whoa, really?
Whoa, thank you, Nowstat. I was just thinking to myself, oh man, Nowstat, he's popped in, but I really only got a chance to talk to him at the last Smash Brothers tournament. So thank you for being the man from the Smash for the Smash for us. That's so cool. Yeah, no, we're not building Gundams. These figures are for a tabletop miniatures game that we love. This is Warhammer 40,000. I'm building orcs, which are basically a hot rod punk rock version of Tolkien orcs. They have crude guns and weapons. Real like Ed Roth hot rod sensibilities. I love it. John's playing the zombie Terminators. The super Egyptian theme undead army. Except they're all the mechanical men. But no, these are not Gundams. But yeah, it's kind of like D&D. No, this is a tabletop miniatures game. So you take turns to move your pieces around and fight. And there's a really, really involved, 350-page rule book about, you don't use all of that for rules, about how to move, how to shoot, how to fight in close combat and stuff like that. So it's not role-playing. There are role-playing versions of it, because this and Magic the Gathering and D&D, I think the order goes Magic the Gathering, D&D, this game are the three biggest tabletop games. So no, this is a war game, turn-based to emulate real time, but it's all about marching armies across the field and killing each other. However, the lore is what's so exceptional about it. So we talk a lot about lore and stuff like that. That's what we're just doing. But yeah, we're going to be playing edited highlights of it on future streams, possibly next week, but maybe not, where we're going to play, because it takes hours to play. In earlier versions of the show, we just try and play a quick game in 2 hours, and it wasn't fun for us, which made it a bad stream, and it wasn't fun. It's not that we didn't figure it out. We got it down, but, we took it all in, and it was, the presenters' fun aside, it wasn't a great stream. So we're going to play a full game, edit highlights of it, and we're calling the format MST 40K, Mystery Science Theater 40K, because we're going to be, talking over it and riffing and, basically heckling ourselves and each other, as we go over the game we played. So it's really cool. The fact that y'all don't know quite what it is really exciting, because it really is something to see. The lore is amazing, the figures are amazing, so we're happy to show it to you guys. And no, we did not see the Smash 5 trailer.
No.
But that's exactly what I'm going to do as soon as we sign off, though. My God.
Which will be in a few minutes, actually.
Yes, indeedy doodle. But yeah, that's awesome. I've been wondering about that every other day for quite some time now. So thank you, Nowstat. That's exceptional. Oh my God, it's a good time to have a Switch.
Yeah, I don't play that.
You don't play that.
I am guilty of owning a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox One.
Nothing wrong with those.
Nothing wrong with them at all, but just
yeah,
they're not the more
yeah, no worries.
Don't exactly have a lot of things. And also Undertale's coming to Switch. Oh, that's awesome. That's an awesome game.
Dope. Heck yeah. John, you're in a building where everyone in it but you has a Switch. So if ever you want to play, let me know.
Yeah.
Not that I'm offering other people Switches. It's that you're
It's-
more than happy to. I'm
yeah.
more than happy to lend you mine.
It's a question of time versus reward kind of thing.
Oh, it
It's-
always is. It always is. Yeah. Wish I had an Xbox One so I could play the Fortnite Monster Hunter. We might be playing Fortnite during community gaming.
Mhm.
I've got a couple friends who are really into it, and I'm more available, so I want to do stuff like that. So yeah,
But yeah, the
Monster Hunter.
the thing about it is that I have an Xbox One.
Mhm.
I got it a few months ago, and the amount of hours that I've put on that machine total to less than the number of fingers that I've got.
Yep. No, that's how
So-
it goes. Yeah.
So if you see it when you get the chance,
When I get
yeah.
the chance. Nice. Yeah. Is Monster Hunter an Xbox exclusive? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's not. It's on
Okay.
PlayStation as well, but
Gotcha.
it's just that I think he'd prefer Xbox One just so he can play it. It
Yeah.
does have a little bit better graphics and does play a little easier on the Xbox because of the way the software architecture works
Yep.
versus how the PS3 basically has to load everything. So it's a different framework architecture, which is why people tend to prefer
Mhm.
Xbox for things like shooters because it loads the level once and then you don't have to worry about it loading multiple times while you're
Mhm.
running through. Whereas in PlayStation, they figure out clever ways of hiding the load screens, but they're still there.
Gotcha. Super cool. That's awesome. Alrighty. Well, at the tone, the time is 9:50. And I think that might do it for the night. Unless there's anything you wanted to say before we headed out, John.
I am really happy about what I've been seeing in the new Tau Codex. Again,
Cool.
not just for what it might mean for my codex when it eventually comes out, even though
Which is what we all really read the updates for.
but to be absolutely fair, I've been keeping up to date with a lot of the new Tau stuff. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tau were always good, but at the same time, it's cool that they are.
I mean, I was half tempted to think about
You're
I'm not really a big Tau player, but some of this stuff is really looking kind of fun.
Interesting.
Do I want to splurge on one? And I was like, no, John, no. You've
Yeah.
already sunk so much money into the new AdMech and Questermech stuff. No more armies, just the two.
Just the two. I'm sitting on 5 myself. Very little of it's built, but yeah.
Okay, thanks
Into
for
the trailer
thanks for
Discord.
sending this link.
Dope. Thanks, Nasdad. Yeah, that's super exciting. God, I can't wait. Heck yeah.
He really can't.
No.
We're wrapping this up just so that we can go. No, we're wrapping this up because we do have some of us, unfortunately, have to get
Yeah.
up very early in the morning to get to work.
we have to work to make this happen so we can come in here to work, but we love it. And that's why we do it.
Mhm.
So, we might be rolling the time for this back, by the way. I don't think that's actually impacting anybody other than us. But let us know if anybody out there in chat has any feelings about it. You know, we might, instead of starting at 8 and ending at 10, we might be starting at 6 or 7 and ending at 8 or 9, to
Mhm.
make things easier on us. But by all means, if any of y'all have any feelings either way, let us know. And also let us know what you might want to see out of us. I'm sure those of you who joined us get that we're going from, one cool big tabletop game to another,
Yeah,
whether we're,
that'd be fun too.
planning out campaigns for D&D or building models and coming up with a new format for showing, actually playing 40K instead of just building stuff. But let us know, what tabletop games would you all like to see? And that includes digital versions of tabletop games. Hearthstone is, the digitized, automated version of Magic. So if
Mhm.
you'd like to see us do that, that'd be great.
Well, there's a few.
Makes me jealous.
Yeah, there are a few
Flag stream.
rather.
We would
rather
love to
blatant
have you,
differences,
Nustad.
but
Yeah.
No, we would love to have you, Nustad, but just
Yeah.
to respond to your comment about the similarities between Magic and Hearthstone, there's some rather
Interesting.
key differences.
Never mind. But nonetheless, that would okay. I really want to see what that's about because I'm pretty green when it comes to either.
Well, because with Hearthstone, resource management really isn't that big a deal because you're going to get guaranteed another resource every turn
I see.
unless you yourself or your opponent does something to screw you over for that. But it's something that you could pretty much bank on. It's part
Mhm.
of the strategy. Whereas in Magic the Gathering, your resources are very much in flux because your resources have to be drawn and then played.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you draw a resource card, mana, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to place it down on the table and use it.
Right.
So, and also the mana resources that you get are color coded, whereas in Hearthstone it's all the same color.
Yeah. Hearthstone's purely digital, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
unfortunately it's
interesting.
purely digital. Yes.
Interesting. Are
But
you
yeah.
a big fan? Because I mean, like, you seem. I know how invested you are in Magic. Are you into Hearthstone?
I used to play Hearthstone quite a lot.
Cool.
Quite religiously actually at one point, and then I was removed from an area with any decent Wi-Fi and stopped playing for a good while. And because it was starting to become when I got by the time I got back, I had about 10 gigabytes worth of updates that I had to put in.
Yeah.
I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but not really.
Not much.
But I had quite a bit of upgrading to do and updates to run. I'm like, and suddenly this game is no longer worth it.
Yeah, I feel you.
And also, once I stopped playing that game constantly, I suddenly realized, oh my god, this is what it's like to have free time.
This is what?
This is what it's like to have free time.
Oh, I don't know what that's like anymore. I can't tell if it's a fever dream or an actual memory that I'm having at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, I used to play Hearthstone quite a lot. I was a mage player, really loved playing it, and I mean, I had a fairly mean deck back in the day, but then again, I got out of the game for about a month, and once that happened, I saw no reason to go back. Kind of like World of Warhammer. What used to be
You
a big
played
World of War. Yeah.
Oh, World of Warcraft.
Sorry.
Yeah.
World
I was
going to
say, you flew out for World of Warhammer? What's Nottingham like? Yeah, no, I hear you.
No, World of Warcraft. Again, back in the day, back when I was still in college, I played again religiously, and then I started to realize, wow, I'm actually paying to play this game, and it's essentially another job.
Yep.
So why am I doing this again?
Yep.
And
Yep.
The money between needing the money at the time and just not having the time, I got out of that game. So much like those games, once I stopped playing, it was really easy to not continue playing. So
Yeah.
but with something like Magic the Gathering, where you actually have physical assets, you have the physical assets. So once you have a deck, you can always play.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about finding opponents, and that's the harder part.
Yep. Not for us, though. We have a couple friendly local game stores. We have a great couple communities,
Yeah.
which is one of the things that, we wanted to share through this show.
So we were considering doing a Magic the Gathering stream. That's going to be a little problematic.
Yeah, no, you made a bunch of great points.
Yeah.
That's one of the games that, as a developer, I should know for reference. Not even as a tabletop, developer, but just as a game developer in general. You should be aware of, there are like 20 games you should know pretty well, and that's one of them. And so I was putting it all past John, and John made some great points. So I'm sure Magic's going to come up. If that's the case, go ahead and mention it to us on Twitch and on Discord, and we'll get into, whether or not we think that'll work based on what it takes for us to produce a show.
We will figure out some way of getting that Magic content onto the show, but we don't know exactly how just yet.
Yeah,
As
definitely.
for doing a cooking show, we're not entirely sure just yet, because we're going to have to be very careful about brands and other things on to be shown on the show.
That's not too hard to manage. We've been talking about that a little bit. It wouldn't be for a few months, but we needed a location for our. We don't show it because it's renovation, but we're fixing up other parts of the studio. We had this space that we weren't using, and I was like, that's a term, that's an idea when you're playing tabletop games as a kitchen table game. Just like a friendly game that you throw together, and that's as competitive as I want to get when it comes to games on stream. So we started hosting it in the kitchen to have the space and whatnot. And so that's Paradise is always going to be in the kitchen for that reason. But it's funny you mentioned that now, Stead, because I've wanted to do a cooking show for a while. Been talking to Ben about it, and not for the next few months, not until the summer. But I would love to get a cooking show going.
Yeah, we'd love to get Tamaki out here, like you suggested.
Oh my God.
I don't know if he'd really want to come out here.
Tamaki and Naustad,
just to do a cooking show. We'd love to have him, but I don't know if he'd really want to come out here just to do a couple of cooking shows with us.
Who knows?
But hey, if he's in town, if he's in town, we can always let him know. Like, hey,
absolutely, yeah. What's his name?
But I don't know how well a cooking show would really work for us because that means
we'll
that
figure it out. We've done it before.
Well, we've done it before, but the thing of it is, half the episode we're going to be back here, so the audience is going to get a real good shot of the backs of our heads.
Well, no, that's what the portable cameras are for. You know, that's why we have 2 highly portable cameras. No, we could definitely work around that. That's not going to be a problem at all.
All right. Well, I stand corrected.
Yeah. Oh no, and you're going to be front and center for our cooking shows, my friend.
Oh yes, because I'm a decent cook.
He is much more than a decent cook.
Well,
he's a very good cook, and he's decent. He's also very modest. He's decent about nothing.
I consider myself decent. I'm not 5-star.
Right, because he's such a good cook. Absolutely.
So
beer can chicken that this man makes is something I'd pay $30 for in a restaurant. I'm completely serious.
Well, to be fair, it's because I had to modify the beer can chicken recipe to be baked in the oven. Originally as a grill recipe, and yeah, I love cooking on the grill. Unfortunately, the results in the grill are a little bit they're a little bit hard to replicate from bird to bird. But if you put it, but if you know how to properly prep your bird and how to swing it out onto a proper tray, you can actually braise a bird, and it comes out just like beer can chicken. And then I make a gravy out of the sauce. And then once I'm done with that, I make a big bag of popcorn. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because Ben's thing is gourmet popcorn. Ben and John's thing. And John's things are gourmet popcorn.
Yeah, I have a pot on the top of my stove at home that I use to make popcorn with, and I just use I buy the nice quality gourmet. Kernels. I have the red, white, and blue version. So I've got it's the blue corn, the red corn.
M, S, and G.
And yeah, so throw those in there with some coconut oil and a little bit of salt.
That's a great idea. Coconut oil for popcorn. It's also a lot lighter and healthier.
Yeah.
Truffle butter is the lead in Ben's pencil when it comes to. Speaking of MSG, when it comes to popcorn, yeah.
That's decadent.
That's decadent.
I don't know if I.
In other words, just enough.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that because for me, truffle butter is a finishing thing.
You
know, or truffle butter and truffle oil; those are finishers. So you don't really cook with them. You know, so using that to use that for such an extravagance as just making popcorn. Wow, that's a thought. I
did once cut up a piece of prime rib just to make myself a steak sandwich, and it was just like, yep, I see the value in this. So I don't know. Extravagance, I think we can adjust those expectations of yours, John.
Well, here's the thing. It's like again, I would use it as a finisher. So what I would do is I would make something like a steak, and then at the end, just before serving, with a little brush a coat of the oil on and give it that light little extra hit of flavor at the end to finish with.
That's cool.
Because cooking with it in the process is going to burn some of the oil, and it's going to ruin some of that truffle flavor.
Oh, sorry. When you were saying finisher, I was thinking that you meant like garnish. I was like, no, that should be further center stage.
No. Not, it's not
no, I hear you.
Again, it's what I mean by finisher is that it's something you add at the end of a dish. For example, when you cook with olive oil, you use regular light olive oil for cooking, and you use Evo as a finisher.
It's Evo. Oh, extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah. So you use the extra virgin stuff. That's your finisher. That's what you put at the end of the dish.
There's
to
so
add the flavor.
Many extra virgin jokes going through my head about us being a bunch of nerds.
Speak for yourself on that one, but
yeah, no jokes going through my head about us and ours, not about myself. Thank you very much.
Oh, good to hear. But yes,
I can't believe that's where your head went with that. That's hilarious. I think that's very telling. Thank you very fucking much. Excuse my language. Sorry, everybody.
We used to be a family show.
Oh no, we still are. We just have to remind ourselves and our community. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to be a family show. And then we started throwing the F-bombs around like they were nothing. No.
Well, no, that was 30 seconds ago. Oh, my God.
Once the dam breaks, they just come out of the woodwork at that point, and there's just no holding them back.
We are looking into finding out how to get more mature content on this stream because I love collecting board games that were never fully released or hard to find. And I have a really cool, spiritual follow-up to Cards Against Humanity. It's super mature. So it's funny that you mentioned that because I would love to do that.
Spiritual follow-up to Cards
Against Humanity.
which was already one of the dirtiest games I've ever played.
Yep. Well, this game is called Least I Could Do. It's abbreviated
heard of
to Licht. Yeah.
I've heard of that, yeah.
And the reason you've heard of it, and I'd be shocked if anyone else out there has, is because it was on the shelf of they got a demo copy of it at our friendly local game store, which is totally family friendly. And I asked my boss there, I asked, her name is Lori, I just said, can I read through the rules set? I'm awfully curious. She said, only if you take it home with you. And I was just like, okay, cool. But yeah, we're looking into mature content. Don't worry, I'll keep my pants on. I don't know about him though. We'll go from there.
Unfortunately, because the table is here and the rest of me is up here.
The rest of him is up there. That's true.
So I'm not going to do this for the whole session. It's just going to be very weird if I just.
Well, just get on a stepladder so we can shoot you from the knees. Actually, that wouldn't cover it for him. Anyway.
Especially
but yeah.
not if we do the cooking show, because then at that point it's just
That's
I just don't.
That's a whole nother animal that we're doing. Make a mint potion 18+ channel. Yeah, that might be the kind of thing that came up. We just briefly talked about it over lunch earlier today about how to manage that. So that might be the way to do it, Nusted.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Also, we've been working on a few things which may or may not involve alcohol, which would have to be discussed on that on that show as well.
Do you know that we can actually drink on stream? We just can't brand it, so we have to red cup it. We just have to pour the alcohol into something that doesn't display what brand the alcohol is. We can actually drink.
Yeah, but we would have
not
to.
Not that we would, but
I mean, yeah, but we would have to basically put white on the labels. Tape cards over the labels.
Totally.
Not that no one would know what a bottle of Doers looks like when you just glance at the darn thing. But
exactly. Yeah. Have ourselves a nice, like 1994 grape juice, something like that. Bunch of grown-ass men with bottles of Welch's getting tipsy. Love it.
But yeah. So we'll keep you guys in the loop for the mature content stuff later. We have no idea if or when we will be doing it.
Yeah.
But
if actually shouldn't be a problem, but we don't know when. So, I see what you're saying. It might be indefinite. We don't want to do that.
Yeah,
okay.
we if or when, just because if it turns out that doing anything that we want to do is going to somehow violate the rules of Twitch and the terms of use policies of everything else, we'd rather just skip the content rather than lose the channel. So.
Totally. Yeah. No, it's okay. You and I went to college, so we can do things like cover our asses when it comes to stuff like this. We'll read fine print.
Yeah,
we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Well, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We're worried about our viewers.
No, of course.
Though.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, well, that was super fun. Did not think that the end of the show would take the turn that it did. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. Yeah, sorry.
It always turns out that we turn left at the end of the ninth. But
yeah, it's okay. We turn left 2 more times. We're just back in the same way we're going. So it'll be fun. Yeah, thank you for everything. John, thank you for joining us, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Yeah, and we'll let you know if we have any updates related to the show. We'll announce them on Discord and Twitch like most other things. And of course, talk about everything that's going on when we see you next week. Thanks for everything. Nowstad, thank you for making it so much fun. Thank you for the information, especially about Smash, especially about the 18+ channel. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks.